Welcome to the Fish Nerds. I'm Zoe Grove's daughter of the chief executive fish nerd and heir to the throne. Here is my dad, Clay.
Wow, thanks, Zoe. You wish you were heir to the throne. Do you even know what that means? No, it means you're going to inherit everything. All this empire, the Fish Nerds Media empire, will someday be yours.
Really?
Yeah, someday if you're very, very lucky and you treat me well in my old age.
I think I will.
I think you will. Okay, so Zoe's here with me today because I couldn't find a co-host and she's the only one awake this morning. So I thought, perfect, let's get Zoe in. Plus, she was involved with all this stuff. So, okay, before we begin, Zoe, do you know how we make money on the podcast? Right, we don't make money on the podcast. However, we don't have any sponsors, which is true. But our listeners sometimes give us some money, and that helps us pay for the show. And so we're asking all listeners to go to a website called patreon.com/fishnerds and give us $1 per episode. Would you pay $1 to hear someone entertain you and make you laugh for an hour?
Yes.
Good, that's the right answer. So that's what we're asking people to do. Give us $1, we'll give you an hour's worth of fun. So every time we put a show up, will you give us $1? That's $4 a month. It's not a lot of money unless you're 10, in which case you don't earn any money, right?
I don't have any money.
You don't have any money. So to Zoe, that's a lot of money. Can I have $4?
No.
No. So, but because she doesn't have a job. But those of you who listen, who have jobs, we're asking you to give us $4 a month. Help us keep this show going. And it makes a big difference. If you give us $25 an episode, which is a lot of money, I will mention your business on the show. Our friend Josh Lopes, you know Josh? He lives in the bottom of our driveway.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he gives us that money. He owns a business called lopestax.com, and he's in Hanover, Massachusetts. So if you're in Hanover, go to lopestax.com and make Josh be your money guy, because he's good and he helps us pay for this show, and we appreciate that. There's other awards levels, some levels where you're going to get a hat on, and coming very soon, Zoe, we're going to get Who Rags that say Fish Nerds on them. Who Rags are like buffs, and they go over your nose and mouth and help keep the bugs off or keep the ultraviolet rays from burning your neck to nothing.
Cool.
And I think the only way I'm going to give those to people is if they are Patreon subscribers. So get in the game now while you can. Okay, patreon.com/fishnerds. Okay, now on with the show. That took a long time, right? Yeah. Now we got to get on with this show. So here's what we have tonight. Today's show, Hugo Medeiros is back with his segment, Killing Fish in Time with Hugo. And this week, he is cooking us some fluke with bananas.
What does that mean?
Well, we're going to find out soon. It's a good question. We also, a friend of ours was hiking the Appalachian Trail. His name was Yates. Remember Yates?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Yates was with us, and he came and stayed at our house, and we took him fishing, so he came along. We're going to tell that story, and we interviewed Yates for the show. So that'll be great. Then we're going to get naked and afraid with the Samantha Ohl. That's Samantha Ohl is on the upcoming Discovery Channel TV show, Naked and Afraid. We're going to talk about being naked in the woods. We're going to play Stump the Fish Nerds, and of course, we're going to end with some fish in the news, and then we have a super secret surprise from Doc Martin. So, big action-packed show tonight. Are you ready, Zoe?
Yes.
Are you ready to talk some fish nerd stuff?
Yes.
All right. Why don't we start off with Hugo's cooking segment? Now, Hugo caught and cooked a fluke for you today. Do you know what a fluke is, Zoe?
Nope.
Nope. A fluke is a flounder. And you've eaten flounder.
They're delicious.
They are delicious.
Hey folks, cooking correspondent for the Fish Nerds, Hugo Medeiros here, checking in mid-July here in New England and Massachusetts. Checking in real quick, giving you guys an update and a quick recipe. I've been having an awesome summer. I've been out more times than ever on my kayak out in the ocean. Been catching stuff, been having lots of fun, learning things from great fishermen that we're friends with in our community, and cooking and eating lots of amazing food. The one I'm going to do tonight, I'm cooking right now, actually, is a fluke. So the fluke here in the summer is a fun time. A buddy of mine helped me, give me some tips and things, and I landed my first fluke in a kayak out by myself outside of Rhode Island. and it was awesome. So I've already eaten. I can't even count how many times I've eaten Fluke this year, but it's been a blast. I'm loving this stuff. Absolutely love the summer here in New England. And what else did we catch? A real weird one. Just the other day, I caught triggerfish, which is weird because I believe they don't come up until later in the year normally, like September, because they like the warm water. So typically, from what I've been told, they stay down south, and it was weird, but it was amazing. I got into a school of them. There was just hundreds and hundreds of them. It was insane. It was like catching freshwater sunfish with a worm. It was just every single drop. You'd get them. The problem is I had big hooks, and they have tiny mouths, and they're famous for being bait thieves. So that was interesting. And but yeah, that was awesome. I don't know, I must have brought home like 8 of those things, and they are awesome to eat. I mean, to me, black sea bass is one of the best ones, and people who, fish the New England here will tell you, a lot of people will tell you that's their favorite fish. This trigger, I don't know, these trigger fish, I had just the other day, I wake up early, so I wake up at like 3:30. The other day, I had cooked 3 triggerfish meals before 8 a.m., before work. So, yeah, I'm having a blast, guys. Yeah, so this is a cool one I wanted to let you guys know about Fluke. So I was reading about Fluke in one of my favorite books in the world. So this is called The Encyclopedia of Fish Cookery by A.J. McLane. That's McClane, The Encyclopedia of Fish Cookery. This is one of the greatest books in the world. Thanks so much to our fishing friend and good buddy Carl Misuraka, who turned me on to this. I think I got this on Amazon for like $3. So what it is, it will tell you about every species of fish in the world, the scientific information. It also will tell you about cooking. So it's a hardbound book. It's got full color photographs. It's amazing. It's so thorough. I can't believe it. So you have the science, you have the cooking, you have the history and politics and all sorts of anecdotes and funny stories and humor. So the section on Fluke is, it's just awesome. So it starts out talking about this guy. What was his name? I think I'd have to look it up. I think it was Vattel. But he was he was the person who was responsible for organizing big banquet dinners for Louis XIV, the Sun King back in France. And what happened was he was organizing this huge fancy dinner, and the Fluke was at the center of the meal of the evening, and the Fluke did not show up on time for dinner. So he was so distraught, he killed himself. So imagine that. Someone that's really, really into Fluke. So and the thing I was reading here is they said the wonderful thing about it is it's such a neutral, mild, wonderful flavor that you can pair it with anything, and it pairs good with fruit. So, which is amazing. Like, typically I'd never, ever liked sweets that much, or especially like any fruits and things in my savory meals. But hey, you live and learn, and your palate changes. And I am going to try this. All right. So here's the crazy recipe that just struck my head. I think it was, reading this in this book made me get to thinking about it. So what I did is I have fillets of Fluke in a baking dish. And then in a food processor, I mixed, which is, basically, it's a traditional recipe, at least here in New England, lots of people do it. This is one for you guys that's a classic, and everybody that I've ever served it to adores it. And it takes minutes. So in a food processor, you mix Ritz crackers, melted butter, and then for me, that's all you really need. And for me, I like to add fresh lime juice and also fresh parsley. So I chopped all that up in the food processor, and then I have the fillets in the baking dish. And what I did, the crazy thing is, I took a banana, sliced it in half, and now we have banana on top of fluke fillet. And all that Ritz cracker mix that was in the food processor, you just pile it on top of the fish, put it in the oven for 20 to 20. It's a thin fish. I'm going to do 20 minutes because nothing worse than overcooked fish. And it is baking as we speak. And I am going to serve it on a plate. And around it, because I have kiwi in front of me, I'm going to put kiwi slices. So, I don't know. I'll report back. Maybe it's too sweet, but I think I'm going to like it. So, I'll get back to you guys as soon as it's done cooking. Peace out for now. All right, folks, we're back, and this is awesome. I'm having a blast. All right, you guys will see the pictures of this online on fishnerds.com. So I took out the fluke fillet topped with the banana slices and the Ritz cracker mix and put it in a nice clay-colored dish. And on the side of it, I put deep-fried and battered okra all along the side of it on the edges in this circular tray here, circular serving dish. And on top of it, I put, on top of the fish fillet with the Ritz crackers, I put slices of kiwi. And on top of the center of the kiwi, we have a black caviar. This looks really cool. So now, let's find out what the heck this tastes like. It looks awesome, seriously. All right, so here's a bite of the fish and the banana and see what we get. Oh, that works. Oh, that's wicked cool. Nice textures. So the fish is wonderful. Really nicely cooked, not overdone, really soft and tender and mild. And the banana too as well is that really soft, almost creamy, not mushy. It's not mushy, which I'm glad. Texture. And guys, this is awesome. I think people will be blown away by this if you served it to them. Okay, and then I got my okra here and some hot peppers. Yeah, the okra is just awesome. Super crunchy. Guys, I will post up the recipe and pictures for this. Hope somebody tries it. If you do, post on a Facebook group, Fish Nerds Podcast, and tag me on it, Hugo Maderos. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Right. So that was fantastic. Sounded delicious, didn't it?
Yeah.
Now he served that fluke. Let me show you a picture, Zoe. And we have a picture on our website for those who want to see it. He served that fluke with bananas and kiwi and fish roe down the top of it. You see that, Zoe?
Yeah.
Now, for me, I could not eat that dish. Why?
Because you're allergic to kiwi.
Because it would kill me. Thanks for nothing, Hugo. You're fired. But great job. And of course, we're going to put a link to the book Hugo referenced on there on our website as well, fishnerds.com, with photos and the recipe. God, I love that guy. You like that guy?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I've never met him, I don't think.
Oh, you have met him one time at a conference in Connecticut a long time ago, and he was very nice to you.
I've been to Connecticut?
He gave you very spicy beef jerky. Remember, it burned your mouth a lot.
Oh!
Yeah, you totally
It
met
was
him.
a fish conference.
It was a fish conference,
And
that's right.
There were some Tin Mountain people there, I think.
Not Tim Mountain, but other outdoorsy people, for sure. Yeah, you made fire there.
Yeah, I remember.
And you fished in the trout pond there.
I
It
remember.
was in Hartford or something. All right. So anyway, that was Hugo. All right. So Zoe and I and my family got to host an Appalachian Trail through hiker. He was heading south from Maine to Georgia. What do you call a southbound hiker, Zoe?
A Sobo.
A Sobo. And what do you call a northbound hiker?
A Nobo.
And what is one of your nicknames?
Zobo.
Zobo. No joke. So that's for reals. So anyway, Yates hung out with us. Did you like Yates?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was 18 years old, fresh from the trail. How did he smell?
I couldn't smell anything. I had a stuffed up nose.
You are so lucky because hikers have a very unique smell. If you've never hung out with an Appalachian Trail hiker, be prepared for the smell of them. We made him shower and wash all his clothes for him.
He wanted to shower.
He wanted to shower. That's a good point. All right. Okay, fish nerds. Clay Groves here sitting in my basement studio with Yates Carrier. Yates is from Virginia Beach. He's a fish nerd. I met him at the Virginia Aquarium. I was at a few months ago. Had lunch. Or was it lunch or dinner with you and your mom? Dinner with you and your mom. And then you said, you're going to hike the Appalachian Trail. And I said, oh, cool. When you get to New Hampshire, give me a call. I'll take you fishing. And I did.
Yeah.
So, hey, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, great to be here.
Yeah, and so hiking the Appalachian Trail, you're 18 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Just graduated high school.
Yep.
Now, all by yourself, you're hiking the AT starting in Maine. And for those who don't know, the Appalachian Trail goes from Maine to Georgia.
Uh-huh.
It's what, 2,100 miles?
2,189 miles.
Yeah, so now only a real nerd cares about the 189 miles. Because honestly, if you do 2,100 miles or whatever, the rest, who cares? Honestly.
Well, I mean, it's 9 miles you have to hike.
But when your feet are on the ground, those miles matter.
Yeah.
And so you started at Mount Katahdin in Maine,
Mm-hmm.
and you're now here in Conway, New Hampshire.
Yep.
I picked you up at Pinkham's Notch this morning.
Pinkham's Notch.
Yeah. So how's the hike been so far?
It's been pretty good. It was hard. Maine was hard. Lots of roots, rocks, bugs, and mud all through Maine.
Yeah, Maine's a terrible place.
I don't know if I'd say that. There's definitely some really good fishing holes through Maine. But yeah, in my first day I hit the 100-mile wilderness, which is basically you're not supposed to see civilization for like 10 days or so through this 100 miles, even though I kept running into summer camps.
Summer camps are everywhere.
Yeah, I know. It's insane.
They
They take
are.
up the entire campsite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're totally fun. So you hiked 300 miles roughly so far.
Yep.
Yeah, no, you're like, oh no, 319.2 miles. You know,
Yeah. Oh, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. What would you say was the most difficult thing in this first 300 miles for you?
I think the most difficult thing so far has just been putting up with the rain. The rain has been pretty consistent. In my first 20 days out there, I've had 3 days of full sunshine and then like 2 or 3 partly sunny days. Then luckily or unluckily, I spent all of my lucky days of no rain in about a solid week block. So those are now over.
Those are now over. Yeah, and it's funny because this morning we picked you up, and today looked like it was going to be a rainy
Yep.
day, and it turned out to be stunningly beautiful.
Yeah, it was awesome.
You could have summited Mount Washington today very nicely.
I could have, but tomorrow's looking good too.
Tomorrow's the day. So I picked you up. You've been in Conway with me for almost a whole day. What are your thoughts of the Mount Washington Valley here?
I like it. It's a great town. It's not too small like some of the towns I've been in that are like a block long, literally. It's a great place, great community. We went and caught a movie with a projector and everything. It was free for everybody.
Mhm.
They had games, face painting for kids. That was just awesome.
And you got to go fishing.
And I got to go fishing.
So what'd you think? This is the first time getting to fish with me.
Yeah, that was great. Clay caught a really big smallmouth bass. I caught a bunch of little baby ones.
So this afternoon we're having lunch at a burger joint in town, and Yates was saying that he goes, I got a friend who's like, there's a big water park in North Conway. I'm thinking about going to the water park. And we said, we got free passes. You want to go to the water park? And what did you say?
I'd rather go fishing.
I want to go fishing. That's why you're on the show, because you're a total fish nerd.
Yeah.
So we went fishing down in the Osprey River because I said, you want to go trout or bass? And you said, never caught smallmouth bass. So I guaranteed you smallmouth bass.
Yep.
I couldn't promise you size.
No.
But you definitely caught some,
Yeah,
right?
I definitely caught some.
As many as you wanted to catch, you can catch fish today. We caught tons of fish.
Oh yeah, they were really like popping out of the water. It was like every other cast at least.
And you saw my favorite New Hampshire fish, the fall fish.
Yep.
Weren't they beautiful?
Yeah, they were pretty cool. I was not expecting them to be that beautiful because all the minnows by us are pretty ugly suckers that we use for bait. But
Yeah.
those are apparently the biggest minnows.
The largest native minnow in New Hampshire. Now, carp are minnow. So, carp
Okay,
obviously
gotcha,
get much,
yeah.
much bigger. But for native New Hampshire fish,
Yeah.
that's big. They get to about 2.5 pounds. It'd be a really, really
Mhm.
big one. So on the trail, have you met any fishing people?
I have. There's a guy. His trail name was actually brook trout,
Mm-hmm.
and so I met him on my second to last day in the 100 miles, and he was just sitting there smoking a cigarette, flicking out brook trout. It was so cool.
Oh, that's amazing. I met, and especially up there in Maine, there's just so
Yeah.
many little wild brook trout fisheries too, where you can
Mhm.
find
Yeah,
them in the middle of
they're
nowhere.
everywhere, Yeah.
Yeah, I always thought if I had the strength, energy, or will to hike the Appalachian Trail, I would hike it with a tenkara rod in my pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen tenkara rods?
The bamboo one.
They're basically, imagine a collapsible fly rod that gets to about 8 inches long,
Uh-huh.
weighs practically nothing, and it gets about 9 feet long when it's open,
Wow.
and it has a 9.5-foot leader material with a fly on the end, no reel.
Okay.
And you walk the rivers and you kind of dab that into the water,
Gotcha.
and you catch fish that way. I think that'd be like the way to go if you're going to do it,
Yeah.
Because you really, and the other thing probably is hiking the trails, you'll be breaking fishing laws, right? Because you don't have fishing license in every single state.
Shh.
Right, we won't tell
Yeah,
anybody.
no,
so
yeah,
you're
yeah.
not fishing the trail. But if
No,
you
no,
were,
no.
you'd have to be like,
Yeah. Yeah.
But who's checking, right?
No, I mean, especially when you're in the 100 miles, like nobody's out there to tell you can't.
Yeah. So I wonder how many trout that guy ate in his travels.
Definitely a lot. I think he said he had like six trout. His first 2 days in that he ate, but he caught like a whole bunch more, and that he only had like a couple pounds of food, and was just basically living off of trout was his plan.
It's a good plan. You could do that in New England.
Mm-hmm.
You get some real trouble as you get further south. But
Yeah.
that's where it goes. What is your trail name?
Wounded Knee.
Wounded Knee. Now, people who don't know Appalachian trail hikers is everyone gets a trail name, but you don't pick your own name. How did you
No.
get Wounded Knee?
So it's kind of like a call sign in the military. You get stuff for doing either a stupid thing you did.
Mm-hmm. So what was your stupid thing?
My first 3 days, the morning of my third day, through hiking, I slipped on a root and my knee went out and hit a rock and I got stitches. So I got really lucky. I was close to White Landing Hostel, great people over there, and so I hiked the 14 miles over there and
While bleeding.
while bleeding.
So sharks were trailing behind you.
Yeah,
The
the,
coyotes were coming in.
Yeah. The mountain sea sharks.
Yeah, they'll
Yeah.
get you every time. But you got to the hospital, you got your stitches,
Yep.
and you got back on the trail. How much
Yep.
time did you lose?
I lost about a day.
A day.
So-
That's not terrible.
No,
Yeah.
it's not. So.
Yeah, and they're calling you a sobo,
Mm-hmm.
and the people who hate are the nobos.
Yeah, no, everybody's
Yeah.
pretty cool on the trail, but there is a little bit of a rivalry.
They just kind of pretend because you only see each one once.
Yeah,
Right, that's not like a real rival. Like, hey, I see you, Nobo, again. You're dead meat. Because you're passing each other the other direction. It's
Yeah.
not like they're circling around each
Yeah,
other.
you like almost never see that person again.
And I imagine as a sobo, there's like none of you, and there's hundreds of nobos,
Yeah, there's tons of them.
and so I can see how like the other guys bringing the traffic in, and they're the ones crowding the trails, and they're all in good moods because they're almost done, and you're just starting, and so you're pissed off. And
Well, I'm not. It's not so much that you're pissed off at starting; as you're pissed off that you're in Maine and that it's been raining on you for so long. And Maine's a beautiful state. Don't get me wrong, but it kicks your butt. It's like the biggest Sour Patch Kid you've ever had.
oh god,
It's like sour to you getting up to the top of that mountain, and then it's so sweet to you when you get that like 360 view of
Mhm.
the entire just wilderness. It's amazing.
yeah, it's a
So.
beautiful state. The mosquitoes this year,
A state bird.
the state bird. I've never seen mosquitoes like we have this year.
Oh, they're
It's out of
ridiculous.
control. Yeah.
Ridiculous. Yeah. So the biggest problem in the 100 is that the I'd say about the first 50 miles of it, maybe 60 miles of it, you're at like 400 to 600 foot with a couple little bumps in there,
hmm
and it's all bog, all mud, all marshy, and it's
You're just wet for days, and the weather's
Yeah.
been terrible. But you signed up, so and you're doing it right, which is
Yeah.
amazing. That you've gone 300 miles.
mm-hmm.
You've only got a million more to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. We've driven you more miles today than you've walked in week and a half, right? It's just like all over the place. Yeah, but we got you good meals.
Yeah, it was
got you a
great.
good time. It's super good to have you over here, and
Thank you for having me.
and anytime. And we're hoping to, as you get through the trail, we want to be able to follow along with you. Can people who are following the Fish Nerd Nation on Instagram, how can they follow you on Instagram to see how you're doing?
I have an Instagram account. It's called Kook in the Woods.
It's a KOOK.
Yeah.
In the woods.
In the woods, and it's underscore in between each word.
So kook _ in _ the _ woods.
No underscore.
No underscore. That's impossible to memorize. We'll put a link up on fishnerds.com.
Okay. Cool.
And if you follow the Fish Nerds on Instagram, we'll putting pictures up tagging Kook in the Woods. And if you tag up the Fish Nerds as you hike,
yeah, definitely.
People can follow along with that and see how you're doing and check in with you. And, and your mom follows you there. So anyone who comments, your mom will be like, "Oh, thanks for looking out for my son."
Yeah, she
I'm
likes
so
that a
worried
lot.
about him. Yeah. She mailed you a care package to my house. It must have weighed 25 pounds.
It was not that much.
It was 25 pounds of like pure sugar, just this box of candy and like.
You were loving that yesterday. I had a whole pound of Sour Patch Kids for lunch.
Oh my God, that's the worst, the worst, like terrible food I've ever heard. So. But if anyone does have any questions about hiking the trail or how you're doing, just go on the Instagram, ask the questions, and every so often when this kook in the woods gets on the internet, he'll answer your questions for you. But he's not on the internet constantly, right? You're not like tweeting as you're walking.
No, you can't do that. I mean, I can, on some peaks, most peaks, I can check, but I usually just check for like my parents and stuff like that, family members. But if I get to the hostel and you guys have questions, I'll do my best to answer them and stuff like that.
That'd be fabulous. Yeah, totally do that. And we'll follow up maybe in November and see how you're doing. Or maybe we'll get you up here to some ice fishing and we'll record a live segment on the ice. And you can see what was harder, hiking the Appalachian Trail or ice fishing with me.
See how it goes.
Yeah, it's going to go a lot like today, only colder and less wet.
Okay, all right.
We actually both fell in over our heads today while fishing. So, yeah, river fishing's the best. So we have a great time, but we're excited about your hike, and it's gonna be really fun to follow along. So thanks for giving me some time on the podcast.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, anytime. Awesome. All right. And Zoe and I went fishing with Yates. How was that? What'd you think?
Awesome.
Yeah, where did we go?
Secret place I can't tell you.
That's the right answer. We do not divulge our fishing spots. It was a river, and it was full of fish. And you caught some fish? What'd you catch?
I caught smallmouth bass and a lot of fall fish.
A lot of fall fish. One of our favorite fishes, right?
Yeah.
And
have I ever eaten them?
You have. You had a falafel fall fish, and you've had fall fish cakes as well. So you have eaten them. They are delicious. I also recommend if you catch a big one while you're dealing with it, cut the cheek out and eat the cheeks. They're very, very good.
Yummy.
Yummy. Have you, and we fell in the river while we were fishing there. We did a lot of swimming.
I swam a lot. I swam a lot.
You swam a lot, and that was totally fun. So we had a great time with Yates, and we hope he comes back to come ice fishing this winter with us.
Definitely.
Definitely. All right, Zoe, let me ask you a question. Have you ever been afraid?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever been naked and afraid?
Only if it involves seeing Hello Kitty somewhere in my bedroom.
Yeah, being naked around Hello Kitty is scary. Would you, if you were not paid any money at all, if someone said to you, "Hey Zoe, I'm going to fly you somewhere you've never been, in a mountain somewhere, maybe in Europe or something, and I'm going to put you in the woods naked with some guy you never met before for 21 days, and you guys have to survive in the woods," would you do it?
Possibly.
Possibly, yeah. I would not. I would not do it. The whole thing doesn't make any sense to me at all. But our friend Samantha Ohl thinks it's a great idea. And so she called over Skype into the show to tell us all about her adventures of being naked and afraid on the Discovery Channel. So Okay, I'm here on Skype with Samantha. Oh, Samantha is world famous now because Samantha is naked and afraid. Hi, Samantha.
Hi, how are you?
Good. So I got in contact with you because our friend Phil Belcher from Trapper Tackle said, "Hey, Clay, you got to talk to Samantha." So here we are, and I Googled you, and you're going to be on Naked and Afraid, or you've already done the filming, right?
Correct. I've already done the filming, and now it's going to be airing.
Which is exciting. Now, I don't have cable, so I don't get to watch Naked and Afraid, and I say it's on Amazon, but I didn't actually. I've never seen the show before. So first
You
of all,
can actually watch it on Discovery Discovery website too once it comes on. So.
oh, good. That's good to know. And so, what is Naked and Afraid? Let's get people caught up to what we're talking about.
Okay, so Naked and Afraid is a survival show where two total strangers meet, and they are only allowed one item each, and you have to survive for 21 days.
With one item.
With one item each. Both of you have one, and the key is to survive together. And the twist of it is you're naked.
That's a twist.
You're meeting a total stranger. You have no idea who you're going to meet, and the other twist is you don't know where you're going.
Wow, and that is really spooky, right? First of all, being naked is terrible. So for a never nude like me, I the whole thing makes me uneasy. Now, my one thing would be pants. If I was doing
pants.
Yeah. What? Now you can't tell us too much about this actual episode because it hasn't aired yet. Is that correct?
Correct. I'm not.
Tell us?
I want everybody to watch it. So, I can tell you just from the experience that it's as real as it can get. Because a lot of people seem to misconstrue the way TV is sometimes, and definitely is real. There was real survival involved. There was a camera crew, but they didn't help us. Some people always have that in their head too, and it wasn't. And another thing I always get questioned is, how much did you get paid? And the big answer is, I did it for bragging rights. I did it to put my name out there in the world, basically,
Well, I Googled you, and you now are on IMDb, the Internet Movie Database. You've got a page there now, and you have professional credits on there, which is exciting.
Yes. How awesome is that?
Yeah. Did you see that already?
Yeah.
Which is totally cool. And you definitely got to get the bragging rights. I mean, you were 21 days in the forest or wherever?
Yes. And it was, I'll tell you, it was in the forest. That's about as far as I could go. And other than that, I mean, I've gotten the questions of, what did you do to prepare, and basically I went out in the woods around my local area where I live in Pennsylvania, and I did a lot of primitive fire starting. I did a lot of feet conditioning because I wasn't going to wear shoes. So that was one of my big things, is I was more worried about my feet, stepping on thorns and stuff. So
yeah, and the nice thing about feet is they are built for being outside without shoes on if we just give them a chance to adapt, right? And so
correct.
You did all
and
that.
I will say, I did have, for the first 2 days, my feet were swollen and they were numb. I couldn't feel anything because I got so used to it after. So
when you were conditioning in Pennsylvania, were you wearing pants?
Yeah, I did. The most naked I ever got in Pennsylvania in the woods was just in my bathing suit.
Yeah. But this isn't strange to you because you're from the military, right? So for you,
Correct.
like surviving and being tough, that's kind of what you already are good at.
Yes, and that's kind of why I wanted to do it. I'm always looking for a good challenge, and I'm looking to always find something new and exciting to do in life. So I found the opportunity and I took it.
Now, did Naked and Afraid find you, or did you find them?
They found me.
Wow.
They found me through my social media, and a couple of my hunting photos. They were like, I think a couple hunting and fishing photos. Yeah, they were impressed and were like, you should apply. And at first I was very hesitant. I did not know, and I'm like, is this a joke? And then I click on the link and I'm like, holy crap. I'm like, this is Naked and Afraid.
That's for real. Now,
Yeah, it was.
Now, I read a couple other articles that, I read one interview with you and it said your husband was supportive of this. Was he immediately supportive? Hey, husband, I'm going to be naked on TV. Or was he like at first like, maybe you ought to think about that?
No, he was. It took me about a couple weeks to talk him into it. And then he finally, once we sat down and talked like a lot more, it was, all right, I support you, let's go ahead and do this. Because he knows that at the end of this, me and my husband want to be successful in the outdoor world.
Oh.
So, and I felt like this was a great opportunity to put our last name and our name out there,
Yeah, and it gets you on the map for sure. And
yes,
being naked is a good way to get noticed. That the surviving part for me, like I've taught survival classes and stuff like that. I've done all the survivor stuff. The being naked for me would be the only part I would have trouble with because
it was hard.
yeah, it's just the awkward conversation. Like the first time you meet someone, you're like, oh, I see your junk, dude. Like, what am I gonna say?
Oh
to you?
yeah, it was awkward for the first 3 days, and then I always tell people, so I've gotten criticized, and then I'm like, listen, you got to look back to your ancestors. Like, how did they start, and where did they start in civilization?
Mine wore pants. That's
my family's from Malaysia, so we're from a fishing, like a village, and we're a big fishing family, so it's it was I'm not saying it was like easy, but it was hard. And especially coming from where I was, like my family comes from, it was kind of difficult. But everybody became very supportive. So
and after a while, you get kind of like, okay, we're naked, and that becomes no longer a novelty. It becomes just what you are, right? Like
you'd wake up every day, and it was just like, hey, it's normal, and it's not like there is nothing sexual about being dirty and naked.
Not to you
at all. No, disgusting. Not to me, at least, but yes, it was nothing at all. When your partner has ticks and stuff, that's not cute. So
no, not cute. No, I've been to a nude beach once on accident.
I probably would never go to one.
I didn't mean to. I went on vacation in New Jersey to a place I used to live, and it used to be a nice private beach you can sneak onto, and it was still a private beach you could sneak onto, but I snuck onto it, and it was like, just a full-on gay nude beach. And it was the most uncomfortable beach experience I've ever had. And I support everyone being naked wherever they want to. For me, I'm like, I don't know what to do. I'm like getting out of here. Time to go. And I hustled out of there. So was it weird for you being naked and having the camera crew like always there too? Because then you're being watched the whole time. That for me would be.
Yes, it was at first because when I went into this, I went in challenging the fact that I wanted to become comfortable with my body and who I am, and that took a lot of guts for me to get over. But I came back and I'm comfortable with who I am now. Like I'm not ashamed of anything about myself.
Well,
like my mommy. Yeah, I have 4 kids,
4?
And yes, I have 4.
You're just crazy then.
Yeah, I'm very, very crazy. Phil will tell you I'm crazy.
Yeah, for sure. Well, having 4. Well, Phil's got like 19 kids now, so he's in the same boat you are.
Yes, we have crazy families.
You really do. And so let's talk a little about fishing because this is a fishing podcast. First of all, when's the show airing? When can our fans listen to the show or watch the show?
You can catch the show on Discovery Channel August 13th at 10 p.m.
And then after that, it'll be on Discovery.
Yep, and then after that, it'll be on Discovery. If you don't have cable, it's going to be on Discovery Channel's website, and you'll be able to watch it there. And then after that, they're going to replay it a lot on Discovery Channel on Sundays.
Yeah, so. I'm sure that's a very popular show. All right,
yes.
So let's get into some fish talk here because you are a fisher person and a hunter person, right?
Yes.
All right, and you live in Pennsylvania.
Yes, Pennsylvania.
Yeehaw, coal country. First of all, let's talk about fishing. You've been fishing your whole life?
Yes, I have. I started with my dad, very small, the normal worms and all that, and the bobber. And then when we lived in Malaysia, we did the net casting, and then I'd always go out with my dad to put nets out to catch fish to sell in town. So, yep.
Oh, so you actually worked as a fishmonger in Malaysia.
Basically, I followed my dad. My dad always took me with him to do it. So I was always watching him and learning. And honestly, I learned to fish in Malaysia when we didn't, I lived in the village. We couldn't afford poles. I fished from a Coke bottle.
Oh, I've done that kind of fishing.
Yeah.
It's effective. It's effective. It's when you take for people who don't know, it's when you take a Coke bottle, you wrap a bunch of yards of fishing line around it, and then you kind of use that as your reel. There's no rod, and you whip that hook and bait out in the river, and then you hand reel it in, right?
Correct.
Yeah, and the bottle is just a spool to hold on all the line.
Yep.
They actually make a product now. I forget what it's called, but basically it's a water bottle that in the bottom you unscrew it. It has fishing line, weights, and a hook in it, and you just tie it to that water bottle. So you always have.
Really?
Yeah, I can't recall the company who makes it, but it's a real thing you can buy, or you can just use a recycled Coke bottle.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's pretty great. So that's an interesting way to fish. Now Malaysia, I don't even care about Pennsylvania anymore. Malaysia, what are the fish you have in Malaysia?
Oh, we have ample amount of catfish.
And you have like some unique catfish, not like the brown bullheads in Pennsylvania, right? You have.
No, we don't. And then we have stingrays. Let's see what else. We have a sea bass. I lived in the China Sea, so we had some sea bass. We had a lot of what we have here, but saltwater version. But I will say, and we have snakeheads. A lot of people love to catch those snakeheads and peacock bass.
Oh, I would two fish I would love to catch are snakeheads.
Yes, I've caught
bass.
I've caught bowfin here in Pennsylvania, but now I want to catch I never caught a snakehead, so I know I could go to Florida and do it, but that gives me a reason to go back home. So
it's a good reason. So now in Pennsylvania, you're fishing all the time. You've got all kinds of like sponsorship now. You got Trapper Tackle hat on right now. So
yes, Trapper Tackle.
Are you a pro staff for Phil?
I am. Yes, I am a pro staff for. I am a team leader for Trapper Tackle.
Better get it right. You're a team leader now. You got the keys to the store.
Yeah, team leader.
Yeah. For those who don't know, Trapper Tackle, they make those hooks that have like a square cutout in the bottom of them, and it's supposed to be a better way to hook fish. Is that correct?
Correct. And I tell you what, I took the new one, the trebles, out on a bomber down on Shenango River here. I had about 13 smallmouth on, and I didn't lose a single one.
That's pretty great. Now, I've never actually used. Phil keeps threatening to send me some hooks, and he's never sent me any yet. So one day I'm going to test these things out.
Yes, you got to, because the hookup ratio is amazing.
So higher than the traditional hook, is that?
Yes. Yeah. And then I also belong to a kayak anglers chapter, and it's Western Pennsylvania Kayak Anglers. So I fish bass tournaments from the kayak with my husband.
Do you ever compete? I've always wanted to see a kayak angler compete against a bass boat angler. Like on the same,
I've never done that.
In the same tournament. I don't even know if it's allowed, because you see, it's such a very different tournament, right? There's big bass boats with the 300 horsepower Johnson on them, and they fly across all the fish to their fishing spots. And
I think that the kayak is at a better advantage, though.
Well, I would say. Do you think most of these guys are driving past the fish you're going to catch?
Oh yeah, when we've been on the lakes, there's been boats. They've been fishing right where we are, but we have the kayak and we get to go right up in to the bank or right inside by the trees. So I mean, I've caught some decent fish, especially on when there's lily pads.
Oh yeah,
and you get to take the kayak out there, man. That's pretty awesome too.
I would love to see it. So you ever do it? You ever challenge a bass boat in a tournament? I would love that.
That's
that
awesome.
To be a thing. So get those guys' egos under check, because their boat is all. I think all a big bass boat is a big pile of ego, right? So
they hate seeing us on the water during tournaments too sometimes,
because they got to slow down.
Yeah, like we're either in their way or we're in their spots by the bank. You could tell they don't like us around sometimes, but oh well.
I think every kind of fisher is a snob about their sport, about the way they do it. So.
Oh God, I know.
Is there any is there any kind of fishing you don't or won't do?
No, there's nothing I would not. I even do bow fishing. There's nothing that I would not try. have attempted, and I do catch steelhead on the fly rod
Oh.
during during the winter time up here.
Are you
so in
spay
Erie,
casting or are you just regular fly rod?
regular fly rod.
Wow, I've never done that
Yep.
either. So we don't have in New Hampshire. We don't have steelhead. We have rainbow trout, which are the same fish, but steelhead
Yeah,
is a big one.
oh man, it is fun. It's amazing, and I do ice fish too. I love ice fishing, but we haven't had a good season here for like 2 years. So
Well, you're in luck. I'm an ice fishing guide. That's my winter job. As I guide,
Awesome.
but only through the ice. I don't guide in the summertime. So if you're ever in New Hampshire, I will take you and your family out ice fishing if you ever want to go. So you're totally invited. But
That's
you got to bring
awesome.
me some hooks because Phil's failing you big time by not getting me on those hooks.
oh,
So
definitely, yeah.
we'll see if they
I
work
have
well under
plenty of
tip ups.
them,
Yeah.
yeah.
For sure. All right. So we only have about a minute left here.
Okay.
Best fish you ever caught?
Best fish I ever caught was a lake trout. It's
Mm-hmm.
downstairs hanging on my wall.
Must smell
It
bad.
was up at Lake Erie. I caught it.
Yeah. And worst fish you've ever eaten?
Worst fish. You know what? I don't have a worst fish. I
Oh.
like any kind of fish. I'm not really picky.
All right, hang out with me. I'll get you on some terrible tasting fish sometime. and
I'm not really picky with fish.
and can people who like what you do follow you on social media? You have a Twitter, Instagram. Where do people find you if they want to
Yes.
contact you?
You can find me on Instagram, and my Instagram is Samantha_Ohl, OHL.
Cool.
And also you can find me on Facebook. Just go ahead and search Samantha Ohl and you'll find me. And also I'm on me and my husband's website. It's www.keystone-outdoors.com.
KeystoneOutdoors.com. What I
Yep.
will do is I will put all these links in the show notes. Would you hike the Appalachian Trail naked? If it was a good promotional thing for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
I
do
would.
that?
I'd do anything.
I still wouldn't do it.
No, put me in you can put me in the worst condition. I'll try it.
Why not? Why not? Well, cool. Hey, Samantha, thank you so much for your time today. It's been really great talking to you. I'm happy to meet you, and I'll
Yeah,
be
nice
following
meeting you.
all of your adventures, and I can't wait to see Naked and Afraid August 13th.
August 13th,
August-
10 p.m. on Discovery Channel.
Past my bedtime, but we'll watch the day after on Discovery.com.
All right.
Thanks, Samantha.
All right. Thank you so much.
All
Take
right.
care.
All right, thanks, Samantha. And you can follow her adventures by watching the show on August the 13th. Zoe, we'll watch it together, and we'll giggle a lot at naked people in the woods. Okay, because honestly, you see naked people in the woods, you're supposed to giggle. You have no choice. You have no choice. Hey, how about some Stump the Fish Nerds?
Yeah.
Yeah, and to play Stump the Fish Nerds, if you want your question answered on the show, call 607-378-FISH and ask us any question you want. And the Fish Nerds community is big, 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 big now. The bigliest.
Can I stump the fish nerd?
You have a question?
Is there more reasons for pufferfish to puff up than to get away from predators? Does it have something to do with mating?
That's a good question, and I can look it up and use it on another show because I don't know. Do you
I
know?
stumped the fish nerd.
Oh, get off my show! You're fired. All right. So her question was does a pufferfish puff up for other reasons besides protection from predation? Right. That's your question. That's a very good question. And I will work on this, I promise. Okay? But you did stump me.
Got it.
Got it. So call 607-378-FISH. We had a caller call in with this question.
Clay, this is Hugo, man. Venus too shy to talk, and here we are frying a batch of mackerel and pollock that we just caught. Vina had the excellent question as to why, as we're here prepping a bunch of fish, the skin on the pollock is slimier than that on the mackerel. So on mackerel, we know they have the tiny scales, and she asked why their skin is different. I don't have the answer to that. Maybe the doc does. Just curious. Thanks, bud. Talk to you soon.
And to recap, that question was, why do some fish have more slime than others? For example, If you're cleaning a
Fall fish.
fall fish, they're not as slimy as like an eel. Or if in this example, he had a pollock or a haddock versus a mackerel. One was slimier than the others. And his question was, why do they have varying amounts of slime? So do you know why fish have slime?
To be more slippery so they can get away from predators.
So that is one reason. So I went to a natural history website called loino.edu, and I asked them that question, and they said, this is in the Delta Journal, they said, if you caught fish, you know they are very slimy, and virtually every species is, but why? And here's why. Slime is a result of glycol proteins that are produced in the blah, 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 blah. Who cares? But the obvious function of slime, I paraphrase, sorry. One of the obvious functions of slime is that it reduces drag by coating the irregular surface of the scales, thus enabling fish to slip easily through their environment. So slime makes them move faster because it smooths down their scales, right? But another thing slime does is it protects them against invaders, like things that would break through their skin, like fungus, bacteria, parasites, and all kinds of other stuff. And some slime has like medicine in it that's like, protects them and helps them heal faster from wounds. So slime's really important to fish, right?
Awesome.
It is awesome, and it's kind of gross. Medical research are working feverishly to isolate slime's active ingredients to attempt to find applications for human infections. Maybe we can have slime humans, like, oh, I got cut, I'm going to slime over my cut, Does that sound good? Next time you get cut, I'm going to rub fish all over you.
Yeah.
Yeah, delicious. Another important function of slime is that it aids the balance of electrolytes by forming a two-way selective surface that maintains livable osmorgulatory filter. I don't even know what that means. Do you know what that means?
Never even heard the word.
Never even heard. The other thing is fish exchange gases through their skin. They can get oxygen, nitrogen, other things through their skin, right? And the slime helps decide what comes in and what goes out.
Cool.
Yeah. So some fish use slime to create nests for their young. Others secrete copious amounts of protein-rich slime as food for their offspring, almost like milk for babies. So they'll slime out and the babies will lick the slime off. And some fish slimes contain toxins that immobilize their prey or give them protection from predators. So these are all different reasons. Now, why do some fish have more slime than others? What do you think? Now that you know some stuff.
Probably because some fish don't need to go as fast.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Like a flounder, they hide on the bottom, so they don't need to go very fast because they hide.
Sure. So maybe they don't need as much slime, or maybe they need more slime, right? Because some fish on the bottom have to burrow in the mud. If you're burrowing down the mud, you want to have a thick coating of slime on you to keep that mud from like penetrating your skin or parasites from getting it.
But like maybe they have a thicker layer of scale. Maybe they have a thicker layer of scale.
They might have thicker scales. There's a lot of reasons. So if you look at that, I think the amount of slime is like an evolutionary variance. So, because of where you live, you might need more slime because you live in a place that maybe the water has more bacteria in it. Maybe you're at a different level of the water where there's more predation and more things where slime need to be faster, like you said. And if you look at the fish he compared, he was saying mackerel versus fish in the cod family. Mackerel are very fast fish, right?
Yes.
Yes, and they move through the water really fast, and that slime really helps them a lot. So it makes a big difference. But we'll have to do some more research on this, and maybe some other callers will call in with some more slime research. But if there's individual variation and it matches the environment of the fishes, which means it's the right amount of slime for that species of fish, right? All right, cool. So that's Stump the Fish Nerds. If you want to play Stump the Fish Nerds, call 607-378-FISH. By the way, I also read that some cultures use fish slime as actual glue.
Interesting.
Isn't that cool? Yeah, so we should maybe give that a shot sometime. 607-378-FISH.
News, fish in the news. Everybody loves their fish in the news.
Do you like Fish in the News?
I love Fish in the News.
I love Fish in the News too. And how do you like our new theme song?
It's awesome.
Yeah, news, fish in the news. Everybody loves their fish in the news. Perfect. All right, this is from, now our friend Olaf sent these news stories into us. And the first one is, you're going to love this one. It's from sciencemag.org. Sciencemag.org. And listen to the headline of this one, Zoe. Fish communicate through urine.
Is urine poo?
Not poo.
Spawn.
Not spawn.
Waste.
There's number 1 and there's number 2. Urine is number
1.
1. Right. So through their spawn. That's even grosser. All right. Some of the signals animals use to communicate are obvious. Birds sing, lions roar, but there's a whole category of signals in the natural world that humans rarely notice. Researchers have found that one species of cichlid uses urine to send chemical signals to rivals during their aggressive displays. Now, can you think of other animals who communicate through urine?
Yeah.
Like who?
Dogs use pee mail.
They do. Dogs use pee mail, right? They pee on trees and mark their territory. Foxes, coyotes, cats, lots of animals communicate through urine. We shouldn't be surprised that fish also can do this. Now, the team separated large fish from small fish with a transparent divider. Half the dividers contain holes to allow the water to flow back and forth. Scientists then injected the fish with a violet dye, purple dye, which is why that fish in the picture is purple, turning the urine bright blue. By the way, another way to get your urine blue is to eat a box of blueberry cereal. It really works.
Blueberry cereal?
It's called blueberry cereal.
Blueberries.
It's got a little ghost on it. And when I first moved to New Hampshire a long time ago, when I was 18 or 19, in New Jersey, it was illegal to sell blue dye of that color, but in New Hampshire you could. So I bought like 5 boxes, and for a week, all I ate was blueberry cereal. And like by day 4, my pee was the same color as a cereal, this bright blue color. Yeah. Now, I'm never going to let you do that, but I suggest that when you're older, you give it a shot.
I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, and you can communicate like a fish. So when the animals saw each other, they raised their fins and rushed toward the divider. They also changed the way they peed. Fish separated by a solid barrier couldn't detect their opponent's urine in an attempt to get the message across. They urinate even more so they can communicate stronger. So like if you're trying to talk to someone, they don't hear you, what do? You
Speak louder.
You speak louder. So the fish in the other side couldn't smell their pee, so they peed more. Same thing. Peeing more and speaking louder is the same thing for these fishes, right?
Awesome.
Yeah. Which is great. Without the chemical cues provided by the urine, smaller fish often try to attack their larger opponents. The team reports this month in Behavioral Ecology and Sociology. Humans could be missing other signals as well. The researchers contend, in addition to chemical signals, animals use seismic variations, electricity, and ultraviolet light to communicate. Visual signals might be more obvious, but this research stresses the importance of looking for less noticeable forms of communications. Can you think of other ways you might communicate besides talking?
Body language.
Body language, yeah, and fish totally use some body language to communicate. All right, that was very good news. We got one more, Zoe. And this is from Illinois' Indiana Sea Grant, iiseagrant.org. Illinois' ocean may provide the means for a fresh and locally raised seafood market. Do you know where Illinois is? If you were on a map?
Illinois is somewhere in the USA.
Yeah. Now, is there an ocean near Illinois?
No.
No, there's no ocean. Illinois is near the Great Lakes, right? So, while Illinois sits along one of the world's largest freshwater resources, an ocean is closer than you might think. Look down. About 540 million years ago, the state was situated at the equator and was the site of an ancient sea. As land shifted over time, this salt water became trapped in aquifers that still exist underground today. Illinois' Indiana Sea Grant funded researchers thinking outside the box wondered if this buried salt water might play a role in producing seafood in the region. So what they did was they looked underground and said, okay, there used to be an ocean here. Can we create an ocean here for farming fish?
Awesome.
It sounds awesome.
It sounds so cool.
It does sound so cool.
They're kind of using ancient history to produce delicious seafood.
That's the hope,
in their
right?
Area.
That's hope. Their study revealed that Illinois may, in fact, be an environmentally sustainable and economically viable location for production of marine fish. What does environmentally sustainable mean to you?
Having a sturdy number.
Having sturdy numbers of fish that aren't hurting the environment, right?
Yeah.
Now, what does economically viable mean?
I have no idea.
Well, I think this is an important function of sustainability. A lot of people think, okay, we just need to save the environment, right? But they don't think about how does it impact the economics. Economics is money in the marketplace. Can we make money doing good things for the environment? And they're suggesting that by farming fish underground here, they can do that. They can make it both good for the environment and good for your wallet so you can become a bazillionaire and get rich. If you had $1 million, what would you buy?
Motorhome.
Yeah, a motorhome. All right, good. Why would you buy a motorhome?
I want to buy a motorhome.
All right, I don't understand you. Okay.
Oh, and I want to go to Madagascar.
How you drive your motorhome to Madagascar?
No, I buy plane tickets.
Then your motorhome is sitting here useless.
Yeah, but when I come back, I'm going to use my motorhome because I want to live in my motorhome.
I don't understand you. All right. So
I don't know how I'm going to get $1 million.
all right, here, listen to this. Currently, the U.S. imports 86% of its seafood. It means most of their seafood's caught somewhere else. That leads to a $10 billion trade deficit. So that's really important to find ways to get local, sustainable seafood. Let me kind of skip ahead here just a second here. Let me edit this point right here. Depending on the source of the saline water, it may come with additional contaminants and need treatment for use in the aquaculture. But does this water provide a suitable environment for raising striped bass? The research measured growth, weight gain, and other characteristics of striped bass grown in pre-treated saline aquifer water. The preliminary study revealed that fish farmers could substitute potable surface water for saline groundwater for the culture of saltwater species like striped bass. Finally, to assess the viability question from all sides, researchers looked at what motivates consumers as they shop for seafood and their willingness to pay for more locally raised fish. They found that when it comes to decisions about purchasing seafood, freshness is key. Consumers are willing to pay $6 more per pound for striped bass produced in the Midwest. So that means if they can find a way to grow these striped bass in the Midwest, which are an ocean fish, in an affordable way, they'll pay more for it, and that's good for the economy. Right now, they prefer to have it shipped from the ocean to there, but by then it's not fresh anymore, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so fresh fish costs more money, good for our pockets. So anyway, that was from Illinois Sea Grant. Really interesting study on using ancient groundwater to raise ocean fish in the Midwest. It seems crazy. That's like dinosaur science at its best, Zoe.
Yeah. Except no dinosaurs involved.
No dinosaurs involved in this one. All right. So that's Fish in the News.
News, fish in the news. Everybody loves their fish in the news.
So, that is it. You have listened to a few fish nerds when you could have been fishing.
We'd like to thank our families for supporting us while we podcast, go on fishing quests, and do all sorts of silly things that nerds do. If you want to support the Fish Nerds, go to patreon.com, search for Fish Nerds, and give us $1.
Special thanks to Samantha. Oh, don't forget to see her on her Naked and Afraid on Discovery on August 13th. And thanks to Yates Carrier and good luck on the Appalachian Trail. Of course, thanks to our correspondents and Google, I don't know how to say his last name.
Me either.
For their great segments.
And until next time, follow the code of the Fish Nerds, spawn early and often,
Avoid free lunches with strings attached.
and swim against the current every chance you get.